Usually, I don't respond to the racists in my comments. I get a lot of them, so I don't usually respond. But I'm in a good mood today. I woke up on the right side of bed, so I'm just gonna respond to this because I have some statistics that will paint the picture, which I think is an important conversation to have. I'm gonna tell you the story of emigration from India, people leaving India, what's actually happening, because that's a story that you're never gonna read sitting back. You've only focused on immigration. So let's get into it. Okay, I don't know if you can see this clearly, but this is the emigration rate. The country's losing the most people in the year 2023. Okay, this is just nominal numbers, absolute figures, most number of people who left their country. And you can see down there, India has 979,000. I'm just going to round that up and say it's a million people. So India loses roughly 1 million people a year to emigration, to leaving the country, going elsewhere. They go everywhere. They go to a lot of countries. All right. I have family in places that you've never even heard of, like there's countries that you've never can't point on a map, but they live there. All right. We live in like St. Martin. We live in Vanuatu, which is an island off the coast of Australia. But the vast majority of them end up in English speaking countries because they speak like I do. All right. But I just want to let you know that this 1 million that leave the country don't even move the needle for India. You take 1 million and you divide it by 1.4 billion and you get a rate of 0.007%, brother. All right, that's not, that is covered by the number of births in a year. That doesn't even change the population, which is why the population is still growing. If you think about it, India's population keeps growing every year because even though we lose a million people, millions more are born. It's huge. In fact, this emigration rate is lower than most countries. I would bet, and I don't have enough of time to look into this, but just take the number of people who left Canada and then divide it by Canada's population, and you'll see that the rate is higher. That the rate of people leaving Canada is higher than the rate of people leaving India. All right. Now, a lot of those people are engineers and doctors and software developers who would have got very good salaries abroad, but they're also doing very well in India. So when you say that they're not staying back in India and not building the country, that is objectively false. Because as you know, the economy is doing pretty well. The growth rate, the GDP growth rate is 6.5%. That's one of the highest in the world. At some point, this used to be the highest. There's other countries that are doing higher rates right now. Guyana, I think, because they discovered oil or something. But 6.5 is like triple the rate of most of the Western world. But most of the Western world is happy if they get like 2 or 3%. This is like 6.5%. That's the rate of startups, the number of startups in every country. I don't know which year this is. I should have checked that in the data. But as you can see, India is number 2. The leader, of course, is the US, all right, because it has a lot of startup funding. The venture capital scene over there is just very well developed. But it's number 2. It's literally the second biggest market for startups. And even though it's very difficult to fund in India because we don't have as deep of an investment pool as the US, we still manage to get a lot of funding. It's the 4th biggest market in terms of absolute venture capital dollars. It's the 4th largest market for venture capital dollars. All right. India's startup scene is where China's startup scene was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you would never hear of a Chinese company breaking out into the international market. But now you're on a Chinese app. This app is Chinese. BYD is Chinese. It's taking over the world. DJI is Chinese. So it took a while for them to get to that stage, but for like decades before that, it was a well-developed market domestically. They were selling domestically and acquiring the skills. That's where India is right now. So in about 10, 15 years, you're going to start seeing Indian brands abroad. In fact, you've already seen some of them. Jaguar Land Rover is an Indian company. It electrified under an Indian company, Tata Motors. Tata Motors acquired it about 10 years ago, I'd like to say. You're going to see more of that. You're going to see more Indian brands take over. But that wasn't what the original commenter was after. He just wants us, like people like me who live in Canada or live in the Western world, to leave. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay. And the fact that we left India we don't matter to India at all. It's doing fine without us. which is why we can leave. We don't have to do much because the economy is pretty okay.